It's me.
And it's me as well.
Mike Delisio. Hello, Mike.
I'm here as well, Dan. I've got two computers working, and so there's absolutely nothing that can go wrong here.
Indeed, I've got a speaker look here.
Oh,
you see, I'm ruining the illusion.
You've broken the fourth wall on Cinco de Mayo.
I can't turn it off. I can't turn it off, Mike. Hang on. That's it.
Ask Alexa to turn it off.
We've failed already. I'll pause it there. Hello, everybody. We're gonna hang on a second. Let me have a look. Yes, hello. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the Sporadic Sunday call-in show. My name's Dan Hughes. This is Mike Delisio, and hopefully you are all here to join in. Really, because we do need you to join in. Yeah. We are going to be taking some phone calls. So all you need to do in order to call in is email. You can see my eyes going all over the place because I'm trying to send tweets and talk and monitor the chat. And
I'm taking care of the chat. Don't worry about it. I've taken care of.
You've got that. Okay, that's fine. All you need to do is email sporadicallybored@gmail.com, and we will email you back with a link below. Now, ideally, you want Chrome, but it will work on other browsers, I think. And also, if you even a phone will work. A phone will work, or an iPad or something like that. But you'll need the Google Hangouts app if you're going to use a thing. So, if you want to come in, then come in. But
please,
please email us.
Don't feel the pressure of carrying this show because we are absolutely not depending on each and every one of you to make this worth watching.
I'm gonna type the
we should get the email, shouldn't we?
Yeah. So I'm gonna type that. So you fill, Mike. You fill.
I'll fill. This is called filling. I'd like to welcome everybody and wish you all a happy Cinco de Mayo. And apparently, and according to the chat, let me make sure I get it up here too. Karen said that it is also people are celebrating the start of the Ramadan month, which is the holy month of fasting for Muslim. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with what Karen's saying. I absolutely take her word for it. So welcome to everybody, no matter where you are, and hopefully you're celebrating something. If nothing else, you're celebrating that we've come up with 2 sporadic Sundays so far.
That's true.
And look, Rory is already very excited. Rory is extremely excited.
It's 4 a.m. in Hong Kong. Cameron, that is too late. That is too late. Get to bed. Get to bed.
Perhaps he's a go-getter and he's up early, Dan. Maybe
he could be a. Well, he's in Hong Kong and he used to live in Halifax. So Hong Kong's a little bit more exotic than Halifax.
Yes, I would say so. Where is Halifax in relation to anything anyone might have heard of?
It's very near Huddersfield. It's about 15 minutes drive from Huddersfield. So it's kind of the next one over. Yes. Hello to Ulf, my friend Ulf. He likes my shirt. It is my holiday shirt because I have had 5 days off. Whenever I have had more than 2 days off, I gravitate towards my holiday shirt.
Wow!
And my eldest daughter refuses to go out in public with me. So that's a shame.
Can you blame her, Dan? really, can you?
Well, no, not really, not really. She's very tolerant of me, really. Okay. We have some people lined up, so I'm going to reply to the first one, which is unfortunately someone we need to get to quickly because he'll have to run off to the toilet any second. It's Mr. Mark Cook.
Oh boy.
So we'll wait for him to arrive.
Yes, get your yank. What are you going to yank people off the show with? Is it going to be a hook? Is it going to be a band hammer type thing where you get them out of here?
I should have a soundboard, shouldn't I? Where I've get a gong. Like a gong show.
Yes, indeed. Dan, I'm going to tell a quick story while we're waiting for Mark because the people have to get their money's worth. So earlier today, you might remember, we were having a little chat on Facebook Messenger. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the time. Oh, here's Mark. I'll just talk over him. That's the way that Dan and I primarily communicate. He refuses to give me his phone number. So we chat over Facebook Messenger quite a bit. And I was having I'm not exaggerating, a 10-minute conversation on Facebook Messenger with who I thought was Dan. It turns out it was Liz Davidson, who's been a previous guest.
We look very similar.
You do. But what you were talking about what she was talking about sounded so much like you that I didn't catch on that I had the wrong name up there. And so I, of course, scrolled back frantically, made sure that I didn't say anything that I wouldn't want her to see. And thankfully I hadn't. But that was a little bit dicey.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling good about it.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Hi. Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
Sorry, I do apologise. Mike wouldn't shut up.
No, and I almost didn't stop.
So it's. Have you heard the latest podcast, Mark? Because you have a new middle nickname.
Oh no, I've not heard. I'm still on.
Oh yeah.
I'm like 2.5 behind now. So
okay.
I'm halfway through the Richard Simpson one. That's where I'm up to.
So you're now Mark, the stress incontinence cook.
Okay. So there's some context. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. We weren't just accusing you of anything. How are you, Mark? How are you? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, bank holiday weekend, which is always nice, isn't it?
Indeed, it is very pleasant. I'm not even working. And you're drinking a beer. What are you having?
I'm having a Westfalen, which is apparently the world's #1 beer. Apparently,
is that right? Because
according to who, I say,
rate beer or
right, okay,
Beer Game Geek. No, that's not
Beer Game Geek. Very good.
Yeah, so that's very tasty. It feels like all of our bank holidays have come really close together this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel like it's like only 2 weekends ago that I was down on a trampoline somewhere for a weekend.
Can you fit on trampolines?
Not very well. I had to stick my legs out the side to allow my daughter to jump kind of around me and over me.
What is
a maypole?
I was going to ask what his peak height is because just standing still on the earth, you're at what, 9'4"? What do you hit when you get do you get into the upper atmospheres or?
Yeah. I have to wear like a beacon on my head to allow the planes to,
to alert the air traffic controllers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So did you have anything you wanted to like chat with us about, or are you just calling to say hey? Either way.
I think I was just calling to say hey, really. Nothing.
I watched your Facebook video the other day, the one about the learning from your many mistakes of aircon.
Yeah.
Oh, did you make a video like that? I haven't seen that.
Yeah. So we do it every year. We after the event we sort of send out a survey asking everyone what they thought, what they liked, what they didn't like. We can always tell which ones are Dan's, more closer to Huddersfield, please.
Right.
Less Matthew Jude.
Less Matthew Jude and Mark Cook. That's what I put this year. Yeah. I wish that Mark Cook wasn't involved.
So and then we always do like a Facebook Live thing where we just go on and we just chat about it and send out what So that was good. It seemed to be fine. Most of the feedback we got.
The encouraging thing was that the all the biggest criticisms was stuff you'd already identified and were working on for next year anyway. So, I mean, mainly the chairs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The chairs was a big issue for most people.
Yeah, we had an issue with chairs because we have to hire so many in. and it's not like, well, I was going to say it's not like you can test them out beforehand. They just deliver them, but that's what we've done this year. We got the company to send us some.
So you're gonna have sitting. You're gonna have some chair sitting. Kind of test out the things here beforehand.
Yeah, we did a night already a few weeks ago. I got a bunch of guys around and we just had a games night where we were like, you can't move. You're not allowed to get up for anything.
Now, what you should have done is you should have had individual like questionnaires for each chair so that they could have ranked them on levels of aesthetic pleasingness, the padding density, make sure that they were, did they cover enough of your posterior? These are things that you really have to take into account when you're talking about chairs.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we had like a matrix score sheet for the chairs. But it's crazy kind of like I think we said a couple of times during that feedback show, we don't want to go on about money too much because it's horrible that everything has to rely on this thing that is not really a thing, isn't it? But it does just unfortunately come down to money sometimes. And so the chairs that we had last time, the chairs that we're gonna have next time, I think cost us £1 more per chair.
Oh, that's a lot of money because it's
about $30. I think is £1. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
something along those lines. Yes.
So that is about £2,000 extra, I think.
Wow. Yeah. Now, have you considered this business model? Have you considered bring your own chair? It's a bold thought. I mean, look, you got to think outside the box.
Yeah. Well, we've already got the bring your own table, bring your own games.
Coming in, bringing their own chairs.
Right. We thought chairs might be a step too far.
Yeah.
So but no, it was a good show. You always get some funny feedback, and I don't know whether you guys get, in your various endeavors, get just really random stuff. Just comes through
occasionally, and I usually get very, very angry about it and rant at my various friends on Facebook to the point where you start considering, if you just kind of came in at that point, you can't consider me a very unreasonable human being, basically, who takes things far too personally. So I imagine that's what you and Ben were doing. Holding ones up, for example, and just ranting about this person. Let's ban them next year. Yeah, let's ban them next year.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
Playing Ben, I don't take it personally. I just like, Ben, that was your fault. Sorry, Ben, that was your fault too. All this good stuff, that was me.
Was there ever a consideration for the convention to be called CookCon? Was that ever in the hopper?
No, Mark Fest was up there.
Mark Fest.
Yeah. So. I don't know if you know Mike. Dan does, because he listens to every podcast that I've ever been on.
I do.
And I talk about it every single time. So it actually started in my apartment or my flat, and we live in a place called Guiseley, and so I was like, I can't call it GuyCon. Like, that's just going to be
that can lead to confusion. Sure.
We did consider renaming it when we moved. So we moved out of Guiseley very quickly. So it's now in Harrogate. The Aire is a river that's near here, the River Aire.
Okay.
So that's why it's named, like Gen Con is named after Lake Geneva.
Sure.
And so we moved to Harrogate. Yeah, exactly. And so we moved to Harrogate, and the biggest river there, I think, is the Wharf. But again, if we call it Wharf Con, we just get a load of Trekkies turning up.
Right.
There's all sorts of issues.
Cosplay. Don't get me started. Cosplay, man. Yeah. Just while we're taking a breath, I'd just like to ask Dutch Yoda, because Dutch Yoda said he's celebrating freedom and the end of World War II today. Is it today?
No, it ended like 60 years ago, right?
maybe not for the Dutch. I don't know. Maybe they're still fighting, fighting in their clogs. I don't know if it just ended in Holland today. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds odd to me. I don't actually know when World War II ends. So I can't. But the 11th was that World War I, wasn't it? Was it? The
11th is I don't know. I'm trying to remember from Band of Brothers now. That's the only.
Well, that's better than me. I'm trying to remember from Kelly's Heroes. I don't think they actually.
Yeah, I don't know if that's where you're going to get the accurate information at that point. No.
Indeed.
Yeah, I guess we just think of it on 11th of the 11th because everything just gets moved to that day, doesn't it? Like, we just do everything on that day, which is also my mum's birthday, so it's always a bit awkward when you're singing "Happy Birthday" during the 2-minute silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't work out terribly well.
Does she insist on that? Does she insist on it being in the 2-minute silence?
Yeah. She was like, I was born at 11
now-
o'clock. You are going to sing happy birthday to me then.
Yeah, Marcus
Fair
says
enough,
VE
fair
Day is May 8th.
Okay, I apologize. Oh,
Well,
well,
that's
it's still
either-
not today though, Dutch Yoda.
We have a controversy. We've got an international incident occurring. You got Dutch Yoda saying May 5th, and you got Marcus saying May 8th.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone planning to go to Essen this year? Maybe we can have a sporadically board game. Where do you live, Carlin? Because I assumed you were Australia because you said it was 3 a.m, but obviously not. Well, you might be in Australia. You might be coming to Germany. People are asking where people are going. I'm not going to either UK Games Expo or Essen. I'm guessing you'll be going to at least the UK Games Expo, Mark.
Yeah, and Essen, but more in my new job. So I started a new job at the start of June.
Right.
So
Kathy,
that's right. Yeah, because you are now. Did you take over John Perkis's job?
No, I don't think so. I think it's like
he was working for
yeah,
Fog of Love people are. Who were you working for again?
Yeah, same people. Fog of Love guys.
Yeah.
Hush Projects is their name.
And what do you do for them?
So it's going to be global sort of shipping and supply and all of that kind of stuff. So,
oh, right, very good. Have you got any experience in that?
No.
No.
I did actually say in my interview, they said,
This is going to be like the podcast with Luke all over again. Exactly.
With Chinese business. And I said, well, the only real experience I had was getting myself around the country. So and that seemed to be okay.
I mean, I've invited Jordan on, by the way. So if Jordan turns up, that's why. That's why.
And I had
Malaysia.
Kathy... Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I think you keep putting an L in her name.
No, she keeps missing the L out of her name.
She's putting the L after her name just to make sure you see it, Dan.
Yeah.
You see, I had Kathy Sanderson call me out here and ask, aren't I a history teacher? And indeed, I am a history teacher, but I don't feel confident in speaking for when other countries recognize the end of conflicts because they're not always consistent. You know what I mean? Different countries will see, will consider the beginning and ending of a conflict at different times. Some countries you refuse to admit the conflicts have ever ended. So I don't get, So
I want to know why Holland ended their war in May 5th and then everyone else ended it on May 8th. Dutch Yoda. Why is that? It's upsetting me now.
Holland just got over it quicker. They said, you know what? We've had enough. We're done now. The rest of you guys can you deal with your nonsense.
We're not playing. Oh, they probably just stayed in their country, hiding under beds and stuff. Whereas everyone else invaded Germany. That's probably what happened. Is that right, Dutch Yoda? Is that what happened?
Wow.
And now I have Andrew Smith accusing me of making excuses. This is shameful.
Yeah, this is probably paying attention to the chat. We end up talking to the chat instead of our lovely guest.
Well, to be fair, I mean, it is Mark.
What's the deal in America, Mike? Do you celebrate V Day and VJ Day, or I don't know?
You're there. Don't worry, Jordan. You're there. We just ignore you for the time being.
Hello.
Hello. Can you
hear us?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Neato.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Oh, well, this is spectacular.
That is everything is as it should be.
That's
marvelous. Yeah. Hello, Jordan. This is Mark.
Jordan. Okay.
Hi, Jordan.
I'm gonna take a great deal of pleasure in throwing Mark off soon.
Indeed.
Not quite yet.
This is interesting because we had found, and we'll see how this works out. This is going to take a little bit of time, but we had found that on our last podcast, we had 4 people from beginning to end. And it was a challenge, because just logistically stepping on each other. And so I think that this is good for us to get some practice here, Dan, to negotiate how to find the natural ebbs and flows in conversation. Don't you think?
Yeah. Over the joys of a delayed internet connection. It's
correct.
It's the perfect.
It's the perfect way to do it.
So if I close out of YouTube, then I can hear you guys right. Is that right?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Press
Got
pause
it.
on YouTube because then it's
Yeah.
otherwise it's a nightmare.
Oh my gosh, it was like double everything.
For anybody coming on, the first thing you should do is pause your YouTube, because otherwise it will be an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah,
and it would go to explain a little bit why Mark has been so difficult to understand.
Easily.
Well, once you hear double down, you can never go back from that.
Yeah.
So double down.
So, is there anything else, Mark, you wanted to talk about? Oh, well, just before we move on to Jordan.
No, I think it was just to pop on and say hi, and I'm here, and I'm watching.
All right, well, get lost.
Everything.
Go on, bugger off.
That was impressive, Dan.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's a bit rude, that, isn't it? He's a bit rude.
He is. He's rude.
I don't know whether that should be my signature move. I can do it to you as well, Mike. I'd like to point out. I've got my finger hovering over that button now.
I tell you what.
How are you, Jordan? I've interacted with you many times, but I don't think I've ever interacted with you face to face. So how are you doing, man?
If this is face to face, I think that's the first time.
Well, that's about.
We'll call it face to face. This will be.
Yeah.
This is probably as close as we'll ever get. Yeah.
Jordan, where are you from?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. US of A.
What was that, Dan?
I've just heard of that town. I wanted to say something. I thought it'd been too long since I said anything, so I just thought I'd.
Fair.
Yeah. It's on the. I think it's on the Ticket to Ride map. So that's our.
Well, that's a very sore point with me because Huddersfield isn't. So.
Well, but Pittsburgh is a city. I mean, it's the Steel City.
It is the city of champions. Yeah.
Oh, so you're a Steelers fan, I assume.
Well, there's not really another option.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, in all seriousness, do you know any Browns fans around there, or is it strictly Steelers where you're from?
No, I mean we are. It's like 2.5 hours from Cleveland, so it's really not that far.
Yeah,
but we're in the same division, so it's
right. This is fascinating to all of the non-American viewers, but that's okay. We don't care.
It's American football
That's right.
I like the Cleveland. Cleveland. I don't know if it's still the same, but aren't they almost a socialist team?
Cleveland Browns,
owned by the fans and all that kind of stuff.
Oh no, you're thinking of the Green Bay Packers.
I'm thinking of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, that's not the Browns at all.
No, it's the colours. You see, they confuse me. The colours. Yeah. So, have you been playing any games recently, Jordan?
Have I been? No. What is this show about?
No, it's about football.
American football clubs.
That's right.
That's what I signed on for. Yeah. I played. What did I do? I played one of the Unlock games last night, which is really cool.
I am horrendous at those.
Yeah, it was which one was it? It was the No Side. It was like that cartoon one. You're like trapped in a cartoon.
Okay.
Evil scientist is getting you.
Yeah.
It's rated at 1.
Yeah.
It's rated at 1 in difficulty.
It's rated 1?
Yeah. So that's like our speed. I really like the ones that are lower difficulty, because then you feel like you can coast along a little bit and you feel clever, and then you still get stuck on something.
Right. It's still a little bit of a challenge. The issue I have with the Unlock games is that it seems like so many of those rely on seeing small little details, numbers.
Yeah.
And my eyes are going.
Well,
really,
there's a thing that we always play on where it just tells you where those are. It's like in the app, you just press a button and it just pops up with where the numbers are.
That's
because I can never find them either. I think it's such a cop out for that to be a clue that you have to like.
Right, because
number.
That's just who has better eyes. I mean, that's why you play it with children, so that they can be looking out for that sort of thing. Have you played any of the exit games? Yeah,
I think we'd probably like the exit ones better. I think they're just more. I think they can be more clever, but yeah, I'm trying to think. The last one we did of those was it was underwater. It was like some underwater mission thing.
Yeah, there was one, wasn't there?
Yeah, so that one was pretty good.
Are you a convention goer at all? Have you gone to any game conventions or?
Here and there. Last year I went to PAX, and or PAX Unplugged, and then I went on the Dice Tower cruise.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
I see. But two that I've not been. I haven't been on the Dice Tower cruise. Oh, there's your shirt. I'm an idiot.
I got my shirt on.
I've been to Dice Tower Con, and I just found out I'll be going
Yeah.
to that again this year. But I've never been on a cruise. Period. And I've never been to PAX U. So, what were your impressions of that?
So PAX Unplugged was awesome. It's like 4 hours from here, so it was a good drive. And I'm actually friends with somebody who works for the ticketing company.
Oh, nice.
So we got VIP passes. So we got to skip the lines and a lot of side looks because people thought we were actually we're playing with games. They're like, so I'm like, you don't know who Jordan and Kyle are?
Uh-huh.
All right, but no, it was good. It wasn't huge, but there is a lot of like just open gaming. Like I only went to maybe I went to a Shut Up and Sit Down show, and I went to a Dice Tower show, and that was it. And I just spent the whole rest of the time just playing games. So I feel like that's ideal for me.
I'm finding that similarly too. I mean, because the convention that I have been to the most is Gen Con, and that was kind of my idea of what a convention was, because that was the one that kind of had gone to first and most often. And then I started going to some smaller conventions like Origins and Dice Tower Con and things along those lines. And it kind of opened up my eyes to what a convention, can be. And I do much prefer those. I mean, Gen Con's great for the spectacle, and I'm sure Essen's the same way, Dan. But it's not great for gaming.
The spectacle's all right for a day, and then you get bored of it, in my opinion. Especially if it's just this year was my third year. This last year was my third year at Essen, and I knew I was bored. I was bored basically.
Yeah.
If I hadn't been there to pick up kids' games to review, then I wouldn't have gone. Which is why I'm not going this year. But that's just it. I mean, to be honest, that's why I'm not going to the UK Games Expo. Other than I'm going on holiday with my family to Scotland, which I'm very much looking forward to. But even if I wasn't, I don't think I'd bother because I don't like the trading halls.
Is that less of a gaming con?
They try and be a gaming. They try and be everything to. It's more like Origins, I think. So they try and be all things to all people. So there's open gaming, but it's sometimes a scrum to get a table. So you're in that horrible position where you get a table, so you can't move from it. So you always have to leave someone there because you won't be able to find a table again if you all go off for dinner or something like that, which is a real pain. There's more now than there used to be fair. And the trading hall's all right, but it's all the same price as you can get things from normally. It's nice to see some of the miniature war games and stuff like that. That's what I enjoy most, going there. That's a bit of the spectacle. But I'd rather go to Aircon. I'd rather go to Aircon where you're always guaranteed a seat. There's people there, and I like playing cons better. But it is a shame because there are a lot of people who listen to this podcast who are going to the UK Games Expo. We're just seeing people in the chat there asking if I was going, and I'm not.
Yeah. But the cruise was awesome. We'd never been on a cruise before, and I don't know if we'd ever go on a non-board game cruise at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was going to ask you that.
Like there were people on there that didn't even leave the ship when you're at the ports and stuff.
Yeah. Right.
And like my wife and I don't go on vacations a ton without the kids, so it's like,
right, you're going to take advantage of the time.
I'm going to go to Jamaica if I have an opportunity.
Yeah, if you're in Jamaica, you might as well go to Jamaica.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got off the ship, but the rest of the time on the ship, there's stuff to do. But I mean, nothing was like super as interesting as the board game room. Probably. Yeah. There's some things here and there. So.
Did you?
Yeah, but the thing that would put me off the cruise is bad weather. I spoke about this with Chris and Wendy because I've seen videos. I know generally cruise ships weather the weather okay, but I've seen them when they're going from tide to tide. It'd be awful. Yeah. Awful if your cruise was ruined. All that money and feel seasick all the time.
Yeah, luckily we'd never been on a cruise before, and fortunately neither of us got sick. So. I think we're good to go. Yeah, we were a little worried about it, but we already booked it up for next year. So fingers crossed next year's good too. Yeah.
Very good. I've just invited Brant on, by the way. Just to you're more welcome to stay, Jordan. Brant Sanderson.
Yeah, isn't he?
he's a brat.
No, he's Connecticut. For some reason I thought he was near Pittsburgh, but I think he's up in Connecticut because he's with that the Portal store. Yeah,
He's Connecticut. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then
Gary Pope and all of that. It's Gary's birthday, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So can we all just wish Gary a happy birthday? Gary, it's every day feels like your birthday.
There's no way. I don't think he even plays board games anymore. Never mind about watches this.
Oh, he doesn't, but it'll get back to him. You mark my word.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he'll hear it.
Here we go. Here's Brant. Oh my goodness, he's doing acrobatics. Look at him.
It's Spider-Man. Hi there.
Can I do that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
That's a little better, yeah.
You're looking very hirsute, Brant.
Oh,
Thank
look
you.
at Brent Dan bringing out the big words, hirsute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm drinking my classic Mountain Dew.
Oh, well, nice.
Mountain Dew, that's the gift that keeps on giving.
We don't get it in the UK, really, Mountain Dew. It does exist, but it's not really a thing.
Not a thing.
Who's Gary? Happy birthday, Gary, says Carlin, as her name is. Who's Gary? Gary Pope. You know Gary Pope, don't you? Don't you, Brant?
I do. I get to
The
wish
Care Bear.
Pope happy birthday every day.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Gary is. Does he play games anymore, Brant?
No.
Does he? He doesn't, does he?
No, he's just a personality now. He's too busy being a celebrity.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is. I mean, we've lost one of our luminaries.
Yeah. Do you have anything you wanted to talk about, Jordan? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm here to push Fleet Dice.
Okay, hold on that
you.
because I'm in on that. But we're going to make sure that Jordan didn't have anything else to say. Correct?
Yes.
What?
Do you have
no.
anything
You didn't have
Right.
anything else
Yeah.
before. we
I'm
got
still
on
here.
over
Go Steelers.
Okay,
And,
okay.
Board games are cool too.
Absolutely.
Well, I
Right.
think board games are rubbish, so get out of here!
check me
Go on! Out you go! There you go.
It was nice to have Jordan
Glorious.
on first time on,
It's nice to have
and
Jordan on. Thank
and
you
it
very
was
much,
nice to
Jordan.
kick him to the curb.
Brant, you're very quiet, which is
Yeah,
very,
your volume.
I'm
is
not
very
a
usually
little-
positive.
quiet. I'm being reserved.
Ah,
Nice.
I thought we might be
Alright.
getting beard interference. Is what my concern was that there was beard interference going on.
Sometimes. I think I'm the
Ruffle.
least known Dice Tower person. I think it's kind of fun that way.
Oh, you're on the
Wow.
Dice Tower?
I feel like I know everybody because I work at the conventions with everybody, but like I don't do a YouTube anything. So
Now is
No.
that is that
so?
yeah? You have a podcast.
yeah,
You want to talk about
I
your
have
podcast
podcasts.
a little bit?
I do. It's the Portal Gaming Podcast, and it's about a store called the Portal, which you were alluding to. And I'm annoyed that you've done 2 episodes on retail, and I have either episode, and I represent the retail store.
This is a good point.
It's a good point. We do mean to get you on, Brant, but then someone better comes along. That's the problem.
Yeah,
That's the issue.
Well, then you were talking about teaching games, and I haven't been on the one about teaching games, and I've taught both of you games that you would never have been able to learn on your own.
True. Dan, I'm not sure. I think I've mentioned this story. We were at Gen. What was it? What convention was it? It was Gen Con.
Are you talking about?
Yeah.
You're talking about Root. I taught Root back to back to.
Was
back
that at
to
Origins?
Gen Con.
Or Gen
No,
Con?
Gen Con. Yeah.
Okay. The night before, if I remember right, you were taking it out of the shrink wrap, and you was getting ready to teach it, and I'm like, and I was being really flippant as I tend to do, and I'm like, look, see you in 4 hours. Good luck. You're going to try to learn this thing from the rule book, because I had some experience with Vast, which was a monster to teach, and I had heard it was just as asymmetric. And the next day you told me, oh no, we got done in like less than 2 hours. And then he taught me and a few other people, and it was wonderful. I loved it. And I think I did tell you, Dan, because I think I told you just privately that I'm not sure I would have had as good a first impression. And Brant, I gave you the credit for this. I said, I don't think I would have had as good a first impression if it wasn't taught to me by somebody that did a really good job at teaching it. So there you go.
Excellent. Well, my 6 months since Gen Con have been a nightmare of teaching with so many rules I've gotten wrong on games.
Is that right?
Yeah. But up to that point, I was doing really well.
So do you enjoy teaching, Brent? Because I hate it. I've grown to hate it.
It is my
What
favorite thing.
What is it you enjoy about it?
Well, I think it's knowing I can explain things well to people and then seeing the joy. It's not always the joy of people loving a game, but just understanding a game. Like they comprehended it, they knew what they were doing, all that kind of stuff. And I just love seeing that. Just people like, wow, I never would have learned this game had you not taught it to me, or I've been wanting to learn this game. And then I kind of get to open that door for people. I love that.
It's kind of an altruistic thing, because I thought it was just like you like lording it over people with your knowledge that they don't have.
I don't want you to kick me off before I get to talk about Fleet Dice.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not kicking you off. I'm not kicking you off.
The other thing,
I'm so tempted to kick him off now. Okay.
The other thing, Dan, is that it's a nice revenue stream for Brant because he charges $15 per hour.
That's
for his
right.
teach.
Yeah.
Is that right? Well, he had to pay me $15 for learning Glory to Rome. Good grief.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, that's the other game he taught me. That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm very grateful because that's a game I wanted to play.
Indeed.
But go on, nice game.
Grant, why don't you tell us all why Fleet Dice is clearly in the top 5 roll and write games out there?
Yeah, this game, I'm trying to get this game to win awards in 2020, and it came out. We had it in our store like January 3rd of 2019, so it's going to fall by the wayside if people don't talk about it. And it's a bit of a tough game to learn. I don't find the rule book brutal, as a lot of people have alluded to. But I've talked to a whole bunch. I was really excited. I got to teach it to Eric Summerer, and then he talked about it on Dice Tower, so that got it out there to a lot more people.
Right.
But the engine build in this game is so good. This is your engine build like Wingspan, that everybody's going crazy about, and it's right here in this. The only negative to this game being called a roll and write is that it maxes at 4 players. You can't play this with 100 people like Welcome to.
That's true.
So I'm trying to get as many people to learn this game this year and play it so that hopefully it can win awards in 2020. So it's my it's my non-hidden agenda.
Yeah, I would say.
I've heard very good things about it, and it's a theme that I really like as well. I really like the fishing theme for some reason. So yeah, I need to get someone else to buy it that I know. That's what I need to do because I'm not buying it.
There you go, and someone to teach it.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
The thing,
Nice.
Brant, tell me if you kind of feel the same thing. It's got the. I think the reason why people loved Ganshan Clever so much is that it made you feel like, it's in there in the name. It made you feel like you were clever. You can pull off these really nice chaining combos, but it was completely abstract. Fleet is not necessarily, I don't know that I would call it thematic necessarily, but there's a framework behind what you're doing, right? There's a little bit of a thematic framework to tie it all together. And it has that cascading combo thing that makes you feel like you've done something really smart. My biggest gripe is I do not understand why they went with the income versus coins and kept it the same icon. That could have been so easily avoided, and it had to have come up in playtesting. It had to,
Yeah. So I think you're totally right. It's free candy. Where it's better than Ganshan Clever to me is that you're not. Which, by the way, I guess it's Ganshern Clever.
Ganshern, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Mike Ganshern.
Where it on that one, it comes up a lot of turns. Ganshern Clever is like 1 or 2 turns where you get the bonuses. So it comes up a whole bunch. It's really fun. Yeah. The income thing doesn't make any sense to me, but all I do when I teach it, I tell people, look, your income only goes up from lobster licenses
or Ridback
Canning Co.
Yeah, that's true. Those are the only way.
Tell everybody these are the only 2, and I just circle it on your sheet. If you ask me for a 3rd time, I'm going to circle it on your sheet so now you know. Yeah,
that's a good point. That's really the only 2 times that you change your income, but it's just it seems such an easy thing to fix. So look, if that's my only gripe, then that's pretty good. Dean mentioned cartographers, and if that's the game I'm thinking of, I'm very much looking forward to that. Dean, if you're, is that the one in the? I'm asking Dean here if that's the one in the role player universe. Yeah, it looked really good. So, and it looks like Cameron is going to sleep. Good night. 4:40 a.m.
Well, thank you for joining us, Cameron. Yeah. Are you sure you don't want to just quickly come on, Cameron? We can bump you to the head of the clue.
Yes. No, he's already
he's
nodded
gone.
off. He was looking. You were prattling on too long, Dan.
Yeah. I'm going to invite Marcus in now. I should have been doing this between each guest, really. But if you want to come on, then you're more than welcome. You just email sporadicallybored@gmail.com. I end up thinking, "Oh, this is a load of rubbish. I'm not waiting around." That's fine because we'll just wait for you for a little bit and then.
And where am I sending the check for getting on?
The check. Well, you can PayPal.
Okay.
dghughes28@yahoo.co.uk. You can come on again a bit later on, Mark. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for Marcus now, and then I get to throw Brant off, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Good. Then I'm taking a chance to talk about another game while we're waiting. Have you played Magic Store?
No, I've heard about it.
Yeah, so I was worried because my two favorite games are Gloomhaven and Gaia Project. And this is the designers of Gaia Project and Terra Mystica. And I was nervous, like, oh no, here's a game by my favorite, designers of my favorite game, and I'm not going to like it. And it's really good. And it's nothing like Gaia Project.
Okay. Because I was interested until you said it was from the designers of Gloomhaven and Gaia Project, and then I was like, "Yeah,
not Gloomhaven."
Oh, okay. I thought did you not say Gloomhaven? Am I losing my mind?
No, Gloomhaven is one of my favorite games.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
You're just listing favorite games.
Yeah. Can I come on again next week and do it again?
Let's have a think about. Get out of here! Get out of here, Brant!
He's gone. He's out of here.
Yeah, this is the only reason I do this now. Marcus is in a UK Games Expo shirt. With his
he's
UK
also got
Games
the Captain America shield behind him.
Oh yeah,
I know. I was going to ask, is that metal?
No, it's plastic.
Okay, so I'm going to make everybody
get it down off the wall and throw it, Marcus. Throw it.
No, I'm not.
Go on, throw it.
Behind me there, I've got a vintage Captain America poster. I'm actually in my boys' room right now.
Oh, nice.
That was worth making everybody
sit here and stroke this for the rest of the time now.
We're not going to talk about it. But you have seen Endgame?
Oh yeah, I have. Yes, I saw it last week.
Okay. Good.
Dan and I had a lengthy discussion that we can't really talk about here.
No,
because
we won't spoil anything. I liked it though.
No,
I can say that much.
I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it was good. It was goodish.
It was all right.
It was goodish.
I have a colleague, a friend. He really hated it. He said it was the worst one so far.
Oh, did he?
No,
for a very specific reason, which I can't divulge because that would spoil things. So. Yeah.
I wonder if it's the same reason that Luke hated it. Too many big words. Luke didn't like it. Just too many big words. He couldn't understand. He couldn't understand the plot. That's what Luke didn't like it.
Marcus, do they? I'm sure that this is a ridiculously stupid question, but I am not afraid to ask ridiculously stupid questions. If there's one thing I know, anyway, do you get movies dubbed into Swedish over there at all?
We asked him this last time.
Did we?
Yeah. Yes, this is on the last podcast.
I'm sorry. I apparently the answer didn't stick.
No, apparently not. No, we don't. We don't dub anything. No.
All right, fair enough.
Apart from like children's programs and stuff like that, where nothing's dubbed here.
Okay, makes sense. So, Marcus, how are you doing? What's going on in your neck of the woods?
I'm doing fine. I'm going to sleep soon. It's a work day tomorrow and all that. I'm looking at my Batman game, which I haven't played yet, but now I have it. So that's fun.
I've been painting Robin. Hang on a second.
Oh,
there we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
Do you have a favorite character to play as, Dan?
No, not with Nightwing because he just beats everybody up. Basically, he's a beat-down machine. But no, as I say, we're not dabbing Cthulhu. We're not the bloody verse.
We
have self-respect. We're not going to be going. Give us $2 on, we'll dab. I'll tell you that much.
This is a no dab zone.
This is a no dab zone with 40-year-old men.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, first, if I start dabbing, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have somebody call the paramedics because it's
I'm going to briefly go away for 1 second.
Okay.
$3. I'll dab for you $3.
All right. He's coming back.
That was pretty cheap.
So, Marcus, were you just coming to say hey, or did you have anything you wanted to chat about?
No, I have a topic actually.
Okay.
Well, sort of. It's. I know I don't really like to talk too much about board games, but it's slightly board game related.
Okay. Bring it on.
No, there was the last couple of days there was a thing going around on Facebook, and I don't know if you saw it, but people listing like. A board game that's really underrated, or a board game that's really overrated, and a board game that got me into the hobby and stuff like that. And the first question on that was a board game I hate, and I think hate is such a strong word.
Yeah.
I mean, you can dislike games, but I think hate is a really strong word,
right.
And that got me thinking. And a while back, I had a discussion on a Facebook group about Monopoly and how bad that game is and everything like that, because Monopoly really gets a lot of hate.
Sure.
People really hate that game, basically. And the people were saying that it's objectively a bad game.
Mm.
And my stance is it can't be objectively bad because saying a thing is bad is subjective. So
sure. Right.
So what I'm thinking about is there a game that's objectively bad? Could you say that the game is only bad and everyone thinks it's bad? And I mean, and also connected to hating games, right? I think there's something to like about almost every game, basically.
Yeah, I guess. Go ahead, Dan.
With the subjective and objective thing, I mean, I at work as well because sometimes we would write. In our notes, objectively appears low, and things like that. Well, and there you go. Objectively appears. They that's where the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
If you're kind of going from a postmodern perspective, there's no such thing as objectivity because the entire world is created from your own perspective of it, and then that's certainly where I come from. And to say a game is objectively bad would mean that there is a universally agreed set of criteria that makes a game good,
exactly.
which there isn't. So I suppose you can say from my perspective it's objectively bad because it doesn't meet these certain criteria. It's got roll and move or whatever. But as a kind of a universal truth, I mean, there's very, very few beyond gravity and I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that Hannah Montana didn't make any good songs. There's no such thing as an objective truth. I would say. Is that where you're coming from as well, Marcus?
Yeah, basically, yeah, and it's something I struggle with when I do reviews because I could really dislike a game, but I have to sort of review it objectively because someone else might like this kind of game, and it might just be not for me, basically. So I have to take a step back when I do the review to check if okay, so could someone else like this game, and try to base my grade on not only on my subjective appreciation of the game.
Yeah, I think hate is used as shorthand. I think it's. I think but especially for someone who is doing a review, doing a critical analysis of something, I think that it's important to be careful and concise with your language. And if you say hate, that really has, a very strong meaning to it. And I think that people sometimes flippantly, just like I think they flippantly use the word love when it comes to this stuff. I mean, objectively bad games, the only thing that comes to mind, and I'm not going to give any specific examples, but would be games that are legitimately unable to be played to completion. And I don't know that many of those really exist. We're gonna get Jamie on the show, and I'm gonna just play him a greatest hits of you saying all of these horrendous.
Fine. I'll tell him to his face. Get him on here so I can boot him out. That's what I say. I don't stand on any ceremony for no stigmires.
No, but I agree with that, Mike.
Yeah. So I just don't know that there's objectively bad games. I think that there are games that I think that anybody who you don't even have to be a quote unquote gamer or somebody who's really into the hobby like we are. I think there are certain designs that are so clearly lazy and derivative and are not only, and this is another minefield to walk into, not only barely games, but more activities, but they're not even interesting activities. They're boring activities. They're, those are the games that bother me, is the games that clearly have no passion behind it, that they're cynical almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Cthulhu says you can't review every game by saying, well, someone out there might like it. And that's true, because that's very dull. That makes reviews pointless. But I suppose a reviewer has to acknowledge that, and more importantly, the audience of the reviewer has to acknowledge that it is a subjective viewpoint you are getting. It's much more important for the audience to acknowledge it, because people get so ridiculously upset about a bad review or even a good review. I mean, on my Batman review I did the Dice Tower, there's one guy who came in so strong saying this is a terrible review because this and this and this. And number one, I mentioned most of his bad points. And number two, piss off. And number you know what I mean? I don't restrain myself from going, right. You know what I mean? But
I agree. You can't be completely objective in the review, because it's still based on my feelings about the game and my.
You can't be objective at all.
No, exactly.
Unless you just reprinted the rulebook.
No, exactly.
Even if you reworded the rulebook, there's subjectivity there. You're choosing what to language to use and things like that. There's no point trying to be objective, because it is impossible. A photographer taking a picture chooses what to leave out. So it's a subjective art form. Everything is subjective.
Really quickly, if I can interject here, I know that we have a number of listeners and people that are watching right now that have some kind of technical background, that they're pretty savvy with technology. If somebody could make a screen grab of Dan when he was furiously typing on the keyboard and turn that into a GIF, I would be very, very much appreciative. That has so many practical uses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be good. It'd be good. Well, that's rude. Alex Cannon said he thinks love and hate are really overused as hyperbole. To hate a game probably means you just find it boring or dislike it. Yeah, it is overused, but then again, I suppose you need to use that language of enthusiasm in order to be interesting. I'd say no one's going to be interested in someone says, well, this is quite good and this is quite bad. People are attracted to passion. Reviews and things are a form of entertainment rather than just a pure fact-finding mission in my views.
Yeah, and Mark is talking about the idea of overhyped, this word overhyped and underhyped being used, and he's saying that maybe it's really talking about games that are really popular, so therefore they're not overhyped. But I don't know. I do think that there's a distinction that you can make there between games that are popular and games. I think that Wingspan was getting accused of being overhyped because it was so popular when so few people had actually played it. Yeah. So to me, that's the difference between overhyped, which I don't personally agree that Wingspan was, but be that as it may, I can see people making that argument. I think overhyped can work when it's either a game that is, what about a game that hasn't been released yet? You can't say that game is popular. It hasn't been played by the vast majority of people, but it's being talked about. And here's a perfect example of a game that I think was overhyped because it was talked about so much, and the designer was actively trying to tamp down the hype, and that would be First Martians. Everybody was talking about how that game was going to be the be-all, end-all, and Ignacy was coming on and going, look, hey, guys and girls, it's a game. It's a game. It's not, and it fell under the weight of the hype that really, I don't know if the game is good or not because I've never played it, but I feel like the hype in that case hurt it.
I think so too. Yeah, and I think the word overhyped is thrown around a lot these days. And I'm not sure it's really fitting all the time, but I think there is such a thing as overhyping, for sure.
Yeah, I think there probably is. And probably people like myself, who's very grumpy, throws that word around quite a lot as well. I've just invited Jim on, just to let everyone know, in case he suddenly appears up. We've got people are still welcome to email in. We've now got 3 people lined up. There's Luke Pryor. I don't know who he is, but he sounds like a Pratt. There's oh man. Look, Mita, you get a lot more chance of getting on if is it not Yanni? Anyway, you can come on even though we can't pronounce your name. And Ferg. So that's the running order. I don't know if people want me to tell them what the list of people is or something like that. Did you find you were waiting too long, Marcus?
No, I was enjoying the discussion, so it's not a problem.
Even with Mark?
No, of course not. But I mean, I have to be civil,
Yeah, this is true. I don't have to, but you have to.
Yeah,
I did sort of shoo him out the other day. So on the group, no, not like that. I was getting sort of tired about the Batman being an old game jokes.
So
I sort of said, "Isn't that a bit tired?" And he apologized, and it was like, "Yeah, I didn't mind that much. I just sort of thought."
Well, see, that's the whole thing.
That now?
That's the whole thing of communicating online, whether it's through Facebook or text. Is that tone you lose tone, and people hurt each other's feelings all the time, and they don't mean anything by it.
Exactly.
And, it's very tricky, isn't it? It's very tricky. Facebook, I don't tend to. I mean, I get irate very easily, but Facebook, I don't tend to get quite as irate. Sorry, just Luke the Pratt Pryor. That's good. We're keeping that. Well done, Cthulhu. I don't tend to get as irate because there's more words, I think, and also, I think people's real names is important. I like the fact you can't get on Facebook without your real name
that's true.
On there. And I also prefer it when people have their photos on there, even if they feel a bit self-conscious and things like that, because it feels like you're speaking to a human being. Whereas on Twitter, you've got limited characters and people are so snipey. I don't like Twitter. But my dislike of Twitter is
well documented.
It's well known.
Yeah.
So Jim, I don't know if you were there, Jim Crimmins. If that is indeed your real name, you should have an email in your. Just click on that link.
Take your time. As long as you're not here, I can stay. So you won't get out as long as you're
is that right? Here. I know my finger is now hovering over the. You'll never know what's going to happen, Marcus. You'll never know when it will happen.
I'm so afraid now.
Do you paint, Marcus?
Sorry?
Do you paint? He was
asking. Do you paint? Sorry.
Oh no, no. I used to. I have some painted miniatures. I painted the Confrontation as we talked about earlier today on the group. I have some of the Confrontation minis painted, and I painted some. I used to arrange a Western sort of skirmish game on gaming conventions here in Sweden, and painted some of that. But now my paints are in the basement, and I may get them out for the Batman game, but we'll see.
Yeah, I enjoy it. As I keep saying, it's only worth doing if you enjoy it. But I'm really into it at the moment. I've ended up buying a load of extra games because I think, I'll paint these, and not actually considering that I've got loads.
That's why you were interested in this?
Oh,
yes, that is why I was. That is why I was interested in that. But instead, I went for the Blackstone Fortress from Games Workshop. I don't know if you've seen that. It's the new Warhammer Quest, which looks really good.
Oh yeah, okay.
But yeah,
having seen your kind offer that you made to me about Scythe.
Yeah. I'll paint it for you.
Dan is telling me because I'm going.
Nice.
I'm going to the UK in late November. I'm very excited about that. And he had said that if I bring over all of my Scythe minis, and there's a lot of them, Dan, because I've got all the stuff, that he would
How
take
many?
them and then ship them back to me at his
They're only
expense.
mechs, though, aren't they?
What's that?
They're mainly mechs, aren't they? There's a few characters that are mainly mechs.
Yeah, it's mainly mechs. There's some airships.
Yeah, they'll all paint up pretty quick.
Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to take you up on that because I feel like that's asking too
You don't need
much.
to feel
But
bad.
that was very nice.
But having seen you painting the Batman game, I'm actually, it's getting me sort of excited to maybe paint my game because I like to see them painted.
It's a really enjoyable paint because, I mean, Robin's not a good example because there's loads of colours on him, but the majority of the characters are only like 3 or 4 colours because it is a comic. I've just invited Luke on, by the way. I've just invited Luke on because Jim might have given up in disgust. So that's fine. But Jim, if you're out there, Jim, you can still come on. That's fine. Just interrupt Luke because no one's interested in what he says. Bye, Jordan.
Can I have some advice then about painting then? Because I got the Batmobile.
Ooh.
I wouldn't paint that.
I'm thinking I wouldn't because it looks pretty good as it is.
It's fine.
Yeah. I think it is.
I mean, if you're going to paint it, all I would do is just paint some grey lines on all the. But even then, I wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
I think you'd be best off leaving that alone. You'll end up getting paint on all the windows and things like that. Oh man, it's a nightmare.
Oh,
and we just do like 3 seconds.
What purpose does the Batmobile serve?
I have no idea.
I want to hear this. Too. I want to hear this as well.
I haven't read the rule book for it yet.
Okay, because it seems to be so huge compared to the minis, right?
I think it just sits there and is like a weapons platform.
I think so too.
I don't think it moves around particularly. I think it just sits there and acts as a weapons platform.
Yeah, you can choose which weapons and the gadgets are on it, but I don't think it moves. No, and I think it's to scale to the models actually. It's just that it's really big.
Yeah, it is very big. Yeah. It
Marcus,
looks good,
Marcus, have you played Hellboy yet?
No, I got it the other day, so I haven't. I'm going to read the rules when I'm done now. So,
I really want. I need to watch a video or two on it. I think it looks really good.
Yeah,
Marcus, I think you better go and read the rules now. Get out of here! Go on! Come on!
There we go.
I came on for Marcus, not you two. Friggin'
idiots. Well, you know where the button is, Dan.
No.
Yeah. That would be funny. That would be funny.
Yeah, that would be funny. And if you're going to do it to anyone.
Yes, exactly. I've got a friend who's got a Hellboy and they really enjoy it. I haven't played it with him yet, but he said it's really good. I was very tempted to pick it up, but now I've got Blackstone Fortress and also got Tail Feathers.
What
and then I've got Warhammer Underworlds to paint and a few kill teams as well. So it's not gonna. I need to stop really.
Yeah, we had a post on our Facebook group, and you may have to remind me who put it up there. I can't quite remember, but they were asking about miniatures games, and
it was Luke.
I did.
Oh, you're the one that started that. I'm sorry, Luke.
Feel the love. Thanks.
Mark. I guess.
You know. Yeah.
And by the way, it seems like only yesterday we talked. But, it's interesting, and I almost came on there with and tried to be pithy and cute about any game that involves rulers I don't want to, but I didn't want to be dismissive because I think that most of my not playing of miniatures games comes from a place, and I've mentioned this before, of intimidation. Of it seems like something that's too far removed from my comfort zone. Right. But I've had some really nice people at conventions that have sought me out specifically to say, hey, you're a big solo gamer. You really need to be looking into these miniatures games because so many of them are so well designed for solitaire play. And, they're trying to tell me, look, don't be afraid. They're not as intimidating as they first appear.
They really aren't. I mean, you play Giant Killer Robots and enjoy it, don't you?
I really like that game.
The majority of minis games are no more complicated than that.
Okay.
The complication comes in the big rule books because usually it's got It's a bit like
army lists and all sorts and
army lists and stuff. It's a bit like Magic in that you might need to prepare stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
But usually you just take there's usually a kind of starting type thing, and you just take the basic. Basic.
Have
thing.
you But what's the Frostgrave, and then they did a solo version, like
Rangers of something.
Rangers of Shadow Deep or something.
Andrew
Jackson, a friend of mine on Facebook, he says it's brilliant. But he's quite a big solo gamer as well. He really enjoyed that, and it looked really cool.
I fancy it. It just hasn't come out in a hardback book, and I don't like PDFs for rule books. So
me neither. I want no part of that.
Can you not get it in print at all?
Yeah, I think it's print on demand, and I think it might come from America. I'm not sure. It's sort of a PDF, which a lot of people like, but I don't. I can't cope.
My old housemate Steve, he plays Mantic's Walking Dead solo. Loves it, absolutely loves it. He thinks it's a really, really good game, and I've played it like 1v1, and it was a solid, really nice, fun game. Really good game.
It's a really interesting game, isn't it? Because you're not so much shooting each other, but trying to make noise near somebody else to attract zombies over, so they'll kill the other person for you.
Yeah, but it's both. You've got a wealth of options. You can use the zombies, or you can go straight for it. And it's we only played the one game, but it had loads of those cinematic moments and loads of laughter over the table. It was great fun, absolutely brilliant.
That's good.
Maybe at Gearstones, I'll try to play at least one that's not like a huge long one, so that I can kind of get a feel.
Have you played X-Wing? And I'm not actually going to refer you to X-Wing, but have you played it?
I have not played X-Wing. My youngest son, actually played Armada. A young man actually just kind of, I say young man because he was like maybe 14, and my youngest son is 10. And we were at like a little gaming event, and he just of his own volition started looking at the models, and he's like, "Hey, I'll teach you how to play," because he had no one he was going to play with. And I sat and watched them play for like 25 minutes, and it looked really good. I was like, "Man, this actually seems like a really good game."
But one, I'll happily, if I do come to Gearstones, which I'm hoping to do, if it interests you, I'll bring up a game called Gaslands.
Oh, that's with the Matchbox cars.
Matchbox cars. Yeah, I've done an absolute buttload of these cars because that was so much fun.
It is a good game, although I was playing it wrong. We never got past the first lap.
Oh, you could easily do that. You could easily do that, But if you just, just take it for the sort of, excuse my French, but shits and giggles that it is, it's just, it's a good, fun little game, and it works very similar to X-Wing in that you have movement templates kind of thing,
Right. Okay, well, I'm willing to give it a shot. I think I've already kind of like mentioned 4 or 5 different things I want to play.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot. Yeah, quite a lot to get through that weekend.
Ferg, you're coming on soon. That's still okay with you. But Gasland is cool because of the cars, and the good thing about it is it's got a good thing about a lot of these miniatures games, not Games Workshop, but a lot of these ones is there's a very punk rock attitude towards
DIY.
Towards things. It's like Gaslands came out with a book which was £8, and it says buy some Matchbox cars from the local charity shops. You can buy templates from here, but don't bother buying them if you just want to print them out. Copy them from the book, then that's fine. Use D6s from wherever you've got. There's a real do-it-yourself attitude, which is much more lacking in board games. Well, I suppose there still is a print and play type stuff.
There is,
but that's usually people trying to get into the business, isn't it? Rather than doing it for its own. You don't get many board game companies that say, don't worry, we won't charge you much for this.
Just use whatever bits you can find. Yeah.
Oh, which cheap-ass games used to.
Cheap-ass games,
cheap-ass games used to do.
Never played one of their games, but they sound fun.
They were never very good. I bought a few because they were cheap.
And you are also
and cheap. I am cheap. But yeah, they were all
I came across Gaslands because I sort of stumbled across a few miniatures rule sets that were exactly that. They were very charitable. They were like, here's a rule set. If you've got minis, use whatever you like, kind of thing. They were kind of generic fantasy, this, that, whatever. And then I came across, there's so many rule sets like that, I'd been kind of jaded by coming from a Games Workshop background that, there were only a few other companies out there that were that in competition with Games Workshop, and everything had to be their rule sets. But that's not the well. It's certainly not the case now. There's absolutely loads of rules out there for people to use.
Yeah, I mean, Osprey, as well as doing some incredible games, Osprey are really doing well on their game publishing front.
Right.
They bring out these little hardback books of just entire rule sets saying, we don't make any miniatures for this, so buy them cheap from wherever else you can get them.
I've got a bunch of them.
Yeah. They're ace little games. I mean, that's what Frostgrave is. It's one of those books, and there's like ones where you can play in Sharp. I don't know if you know. Do you know Sharp? Do you have Sharp in the US?
Sharp.
It was
No.
Sean Bean played Sharp in the Napoleonic Wars.
Sean Bean.
Sharpie.
No, I don't.
He said bastard about 1,000 times.
Yeah. Have you seen that? Have you seen that video? Sean Bean saying bastard in
what a video.
in Sharp. It's ace.
I have not.
I'll post
you
it.
may need to. You may need to send.
I'll post it. I think we have mentioned it before. No, Sharp, which is Napoleonic Wars. It's got all sorts of stuff.
I mean, I've got one here, Black Ops, which is it's a real cool stealth minis game about Black Ops, special ops, kind of things.
Right.
And great fun game. And it's no rules for it, no miniature line associated with it. But there's plenty of miniatures companies out there that make that sort of stuff. But then also there's lots of in the flip side, there's lots of miniature companies who go, well, we don't actually have a rule set, but we're really good sculptors and we love this theater of war or this genre of fantasy, and they just make a load of cool minis and they just go stick them in whatever game you want to put them in, kind of thing. So that's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Cool. I've invited Yanni on. Yanni, if you're out there, then you're welcome to come
hurry
on.
up, Yanni, because he's gagging to press that button on me.
I'm gagging to throw him off.
Yeah.
Dan, I don't see Yanni in the
hang up.
I don't see Yanni in the email. Am I missing something?
Yeah, no, you are missing him. It's thingy. It's Mitra Pileta. We'll ask him why. I think that's him anyway. I think that's Yanni.
Okay.
If it's not Yanni, I apologize. Yeah, it is Yanni. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why he's. No, I think that's his name. That's the name of his podcast, Mitra.
Oh, see, there's my ignorance. Well, we'll have to ask him. He doesn't have Chrome. He doesn't have Chrome. This all could fall apart.
What are we saying?
The Chrome failure.
Yep.
You don't have to have Chrome. Just try it.
Yeah, I don't
do have to have
need
Chrome.
Yeah. But
it won't let you do it without Chrome.
Is that right?
Download Chrome then, Mitra. Well, hang on a sec. While you're downloading Chrome, we'll get Ferg on. I'm going to reply to you now, Ferg.
There we go.
Hang on a second. Is it Ferg from Clarissa Explains It All? That's what I want to know, because I'm hoping it is. We'll see. If he's
what are you doing with your bank
holiday? Ginger hair.
Ferg
hasn't got Chrome.
Ferg doesn't have Chrome either. So yeah, Mark is on fire here. He's just doing these little one-liners, one-off.
I know.
Mark back on.
Man. He's a funny
Big
man.
Mark back on.
Are we sure? I don't know that we.
I don't know that we
want to do that.
You cannot have enough Mark Cook in your life. There's not enough.
That is true. I should have said we needed Chrome in the beginning, but I thought
I put it in the thing.
Have you seen?
Chrome.
Have any of you watched Rodney Smith's his vlogs? Not about his video, his normal vlog. Does Mark Cook and his wife not seem like they are the nicest hosts in the world? If you've watched Rodney's latest one,
yes.
I mean, I
possibly,
put
but
people
only
up
because he's
all the time, but I'm
only
no
because he's
stream like that.
brown nosing. That's why. Rodney Smith. Oh, you're my hero.
Tom
Tom
and Z are coming to me, and I feed them food out of a dog bowl, and they can bloody well like it.
There you go.
Yes, that patch of concrete is yours, Tom.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
we've got.
Now this is an interesting question. Who's
Mark
taller?
Cook.
Who's taller? Is it Tom or Mark?
Tom Vassell. Yeah.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen Mark in person.
Towards the end of the May, you'll see Tom stood next to the Eiffel Tower, and it'll look like a weird perspective, but no, he's just the same height as the Eiffel Tower. He is ridiculously tall.
He is a bit tall, but he's not over 6'6", is he?
I think he's about 6'5", 6'6".
You see, Mark says he's taller.
He says he's taller. He said they had a standoff.
He would say that because he's not stood next to Tom right now.
He's on the Rodney camp anyway. When it comes to the
That's true.
You
He's
know,
team.
the gang
He's on the
fights.
dice tower a lot now. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, they've got the Dice Tower on that side, Rodney and Secret Cabal and Chaz Marler on the other side. doing the Jets and the whatever it is.
That's right. We're gonna have a rumble. Board Game
I would pay
Rumble.
to see that. I would pay.
Dan, that's another podcast name. Board Game Rumble.
Board Game Rumble. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be fantastic. You
Oh,
set up
something
some type of topic where you can have two teams, and they have a rumble over that topic.
It's not a bad idea. Who remembers Celebrity Deathmatch? You know, with the claymation.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That's kind of what
over
I'm
here.
imagining. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Tom did something like that. Not to give him too much credit, but Tom had a board game showdown thing where two teams, right? A few 5 or 6 years ago, I think it was. Back when he prioritized podcasting. Back when podcasting was a thing.
Well, to be fair, I mean that's a practical matter. I think. I mean, when you start seeing numbers and you just don't. I mean, the video numbers just. You know what I mean? Because it is a business for him. So I don't begrudge the fact that he's going to go where.
No. It is. Well, the videos aren't that numerous. I don't know.
But you get ad revenue.
They'll make more money.
You say you get ad revenue off of those.
Yeah.
There'll be more people watching the videos because not everyone watches all the videos. Whereas a podcast,
there's somebody else here. Oh,
I believe we have a Yanni sighting.
Get it over. Do it.
Is that Yanni? I can't.
You don't see him, Dan?
Hello.
You can't see the man with headphones and a pop filter in front of him.
I see.
I can't.
Do you hear
make out
anything?
who it is. Yeah, he's Yanni. I was waiting for his voice. I was waiting for.
I'm going to press hang up.
Hello.
Right, okay, I'm going to get rid of this. What?
He got a.
I was
He ruined. He ruined your fun. This is ridiculous.
Oh, that's dreadful. Oh. How are you doing, Yanni? Or Yami, or whatever your name is. What is it? Say it again. I don't know you can hear us. Can you hear us?
No.
I think
Does it work? I can hear you, but I had the YouTube open, so I was getting
it's a nightmare. Yeah, just press pause or
Which
well,
one?
everyone's congratulating Luke.
Yeah,
but
and you've been you've been usurped.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
No.
Have you paused YouTube now? Can you hear us properly?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. How are you?
I'm fine. It's a bit late, though. It's 15 past midnight.
Oh, what?
Ooh, okay.
We appreciate. I think we need to start moving this around because a lot of the Australians are complaining as well. So we might need to do the next one in the morning for you, Mike. I think
that's fine. I mean, Sundays mornings. I mean, that works fine for me. Not a problem.
Yeah,
we can make it happen.
It's fine. I have no idea what to talk about, but
no, that's fine. That's
I
fine.
came to say hi.
That was nice.
Well, I can ask you this question now. Are you? I was seeing, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it, but when you come up on email, can you pronounce what the name of that is?
Which one? My name or the podcast name?
The MITA.
Mitä pelataan?
Okay, and so that's your podcast, and
yeah.
Is it just strictly a board gaming podcast? I must admit I have not heard it.
Yeah, it's strictly board gaming podcast. It's in Finnish mostly, but sometimes in English.
Yes, I've listened to the English episodes. He occasionally mentions us, Mike. Occasionally mentions us, which is very generous.
Let me subscribe.
That's it. It's a very good way of getting me and Mike to listen to your
That's
podcast.
right. Cater to our vanity, and that is a very easy way to get a couple of downloads right away.
But I think there's only one episode that you should listen. It's the last summer's UKG, because I'm not talking in that one. It's mostly interviews, so even Dan is speaking in there.
I was speaking that one, so that's a very good one.
Yeah.
Lynn says she loves the purple double hand. I know where you got that from because I've got one as well.
It's from UKG. I have two actually. Wait, where? Here.
Matthew says he mentions us all the time, but it's never very flattering. And he's talking about you, Dan, because he's talking to me personally all the time, privately about you. So that's what.
Yeah. I wouldn't know because I don't listen to anything Matthew does. So that's fair.
We were talking about you in this. We're not wizards, also. I don't
They
know.
were.
If you
They
at least
to
someone.
your episode.
Dan Hugs at least was there. And
Wait a minute,
Richard was saying
listen
that.
to your-
And Richard said that this is more than Mike's, but I don't really care.
Yeah,
It just looks like that because it's in the corner.
I'll be honest with you. I'm concerned that I'm coming to be the one that people are compared to when you talk about ridiculous collections, because I don't feel a guilt necessarily. I just want to have. I feel like I've let it get a little unmanageable, and so I need to. I do need to scale back. I need to scale back a little bit, and that's what I thought I was talking to Dan about earlier. And apparently, I was actually talking to Liz about it. But getting my collection to a number that I feel is manageable. So I don't know, but yeah, you have an impressive looking collection back there, Yanni. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of them, but not all of them.
Are you in a similar situation where you're wanting to pare down quite a bit?
Well, my limit is the shelf space, and I'm keeping some of the games for the time when my daughter is a bit older, so I can try with her, and then I will get rid of them. Like most of the gateway games and such, I'm not really playing them at all. They're just waiting.
Well, I see one candidate already behind you that I'd say should get the axe, but
which one? Sight.
What's that?
Founders of Gloomhaven.
Sight is there.
Yeah, I had it. I opened it. I attempted to read the rule book. I closed it back up and I traded it away. I just it did not. It made no sense. Have you played Founders of Gloomhaven?
No, it has a sticker. I haven't played it, but my daughter loved punching it, so I'm not throwing them away. Straight away.
There is a joy to punching board games, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm not allowed to do it myself anymore. Someone else wants to do it all the time. We just punched this Newton a while ago, and then I got this Stone Age Junior for the kid, so she really liked punching that one.
Have you played Newton, Dan?
Yeah, I played it on Thursday, and it's really good.
Is it? Okay. I haven't played it. It was
We're
what I
losing
nearly
Dan.
picked up at Essen, but then it didn't quite make
is
the
that
list. But yeah, it's meant to be very dry. Is it very dry?
No, it's really good. It's not dry.
You don't think it's dry? I think it's
No.
good, but I think it's very dry.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's dry. You have so many decisions to make. It's actually very good.
Okay, I think that I'm wondering if this is a language thing, because
Yeah, you mean thematically dry?
yes,
I suppose, how would you define?
It's great. How would you define dry? To me, dry is I didn't feel any connection between the theme and the mechanics at all.
Yeah, that might be true.
So that's what I mean by
Except the
dry. But you could
Yeah,
say that
okay.
about a lot of Euros, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of a hallmark of Euro games. And so I don't fault it for that, because I think mechanically it's I could say the same thing about one of my favorite Euros that people seem to be kind of downplaying is Blackout Hong Kong, the Alexander Pfister game. I really, really like that game, and it's very dry. It has almost no thematic connection with the mechanics, but I don't fault it for that because it's a really good mechanical Euro.
But it has black map.
The map is problematic. Yeah, the art direction
there's
is
a thematic connection.
There is,
Blackout.
I guess so, but yeah, but people have complained about that. I think people have said that they'd rather have a brighter map and less theme. I don't know. What do you think has been do you have a game of 20? I mean, we're only, barely 5 months in. Do you have a game of 2019 so far?
Release 2019 or older release?
I would say, you can go with either. But I was thinking of released in 2019, but
I don't think I've played any. Maybe
is that right?
Maybe the deluxe version of Gentes. It's really good. But that's probably the only one of 2019 I've played.
Okay. So then what has been, do you think, your favorite game of recent memory?
This is really difficult question.
You can skip it if you don't want to. I don't care.
I'm going to go with expansion. We played this Norwegian expansion for Feast for Odin just yesterday with the wife, and it's really good. It's
the Norwegians.
It's one of the best expansions lately.
I need to
And
play that.
Yeah, it fixes everything that there should be fixed, and you don't even know that there is something to be fixed until you play that expansion.
I was getting ready to say I didn't know it needed anything to be fixed. I know Dan has had nothing but hatred and vitriol that he has spewed upon Feast for Odin, but I think it's a really good game.
Yeah, it's in my top 9.
I think an expansion would only make it worse. I think expansions make most games worse, to be honest.
It actually cuts it down. It makes it less convoluted.
Oh, right, okay.
Especially the 2-player game, it cuts down the action spaces, and then it makes this. You sometimes draw these occupation cards, and they are so useless. You can't use them. Now you can discard them and get victory points instead by discarding the card.
Right.
So it fixes that, and there is no problem with that.
I can't remember enough about the actual.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Dan's not convinced.
No, well, I've only played it once, and I might enjoy it the second time. I just don't enjoy games where there's so much going on, and that just had too much going on for me. And I appreciate that playing it over and over again, I'll probably get to refine it and things like that. But I ain't got time for that.
Yeah, I'm not going to beat this dead horse, but I think that Feast for Odin gets a really bad rap for being. They say, "Oh, there's 80 some action space," but there's really not. I mean,
No.
you've got 4 strength levels of a manageable number of actions, and they're all grouped into thematic, crafting and hunting. It's really not that overwhelming. And as a matter of fact, that action board, I think, makes that game easier to manage and organize than games that are considered to be much less heavy than that. I think that it looks, and I totally get it, I think it looks overwhelming on the table, and people get freaked out when they see just this massive splay of cardboard everywhere. And you've got this huge puzzle, in front of you and this gigantic board with all these spaces. I get that it looks overwhelming, but it really isn't. It's actually pretty elegant, I think.
Yeah, and it's really, I totally agree with what you said.
Well, you're both wrong, so that's fine. There's conversation in the chat about what the best game of 2019 is. Which obviously no one knows yet anyway.
Right, sure.
But Mark's saying Wingspan's the best, but he's already sold it. There's Man After My Own Heart. Are you, Mike, are you a member of the Dice Tower Awards panel?
I am indeed.
I was, but I have resigned. And I resigned 2 years ago, actually, because I don't feel, and I get that people who review games are, but I don't feel I've played enough games to make any judgment on that. So basically, all I would be doing is saying, this is the best, it's the only one I've played out of this category, ultimately. And it's the same with the Board Game Geek Awards. I don't vote one apart from us on that because I haven't, and of course this game is broken, Matthew. I voted for you guys. Because I haven't played enough. I haven't played any of them really.
I absolutely understand what you're saying. I will just say, and you probably know this already, I would not vote on a category that I didn't play games enough in. I didn't vote for everything in those Dice Tower Awards, and I certainly didn't on the Board Game Geek Awards either. I only voted in categories where I felt like I had played them enough to have some type of a strong opinion one way or the other.
Did you make your votes already? Sorry.
What was that?
Did you make your votes already?
The Dice Tower Awards, we've gotten to the, I'm trying to remember what
I know,
stage
I'm in the group. I just asked, did you make yours?
I believe I think I did make my choices already, yes.
Yeah, but there's nothing.
Are you in the Dice Tower Award group?
Yeah.
This year, I didn't realize that. No. How did you get in that?
I said to Tom that can I join?
That's how I got in.
But I asked last year in the UK Games Expo, and after that actually, and he said in the award ceremony that if someone wants to help, he can take help. So I just bugged him a while.
Oh, I'm glad you're in because it needs gamers from all over the world and all different, rather than just an American group of reviewers.
Yeah.
So that's good.
It was weird though because I think that Matthew Jude hacked it because every time I would try to nominate a game, Carpe Diem came up,
That's good.
I've never even played that game, so I don't know what the heck is going on.
Well, Matthew said it's good to nominate the games, but not decide which is best, and that's very true. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember the first and possibly the only time I participated. I was really pushing for Isla's Sky as best game, and everyone was saying no, it's a forgettable game. It's not going to do anything. And then, of course, later on, it got nominated for Spiel des Jahres or Kenner Spiel des Jahres or whatever. So I felt incredibly vindicated and went back on the group to find that post in order to message the guy who said it was going to be a flash in the pan and say, no, see, I told you, it is good. But that was the last time. But like Brant said, because Brant's obviously in that group as well, he says he made a concerted effort to play 4 out of 5 in each category, and I that's what I did. I really, really made an effort to play everything, and I found it exhausting going around and playing all these things. So yeah, Castell, the best of the year, wasn't nominated. Yeah, it was a good game, Castell. I played that with Luke.
I have not played it. That's the people stacking game.
It's a very heavy game, not rules wise, although there are a fair few rules. But you're looking at the board and you go, oh my god, I don't know what to do. It's very AP. Yeah. No, I don't think AP. I don't think AP actually made. I don't think it actually happened in our game. But I could see that if you wanted to make sure that you were the best, then you would. Yeah.
Wow, it's getting
right. Okay, sorry.
Universal love in the chat here. I may have to check that game out. I'm not actively avoiding it, but I will tell you, I never see it getting played. Never see it getting played. And we don't sell it at all at the game store I work at. I mean, I think we had it when it first came out. It sat there and it sat there and it sat there, and I think we eventually sold it, and then it was never reordered because it just didn't. And Brant's saying Underwater Cities. Yes, I love Underwater Cities, but I don't know.
Oh, it's very good.
It's really good. I just don't know that I'd want to play it with 3 new people because I don't want to spend
3 people.
I don't want to spend 4 hours.
3 people at all.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably really
I think 2 or 3 is your max for Underwater
definitely.
Cities.
Preferably people that have played it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
by the way, you were talking
I would
about
say
Sorry.
Go on.
You were talking about this playing lots of games and trying to play this 4 out of 5 and such. I was making this my top 9 games of 2018. I noticed that I really didn't play many. I played like 35 or 40 games that were released last year. And then watching some people over in Instagram or somewhere, they've played like 200 different. I mean, it's ridiculous. Wow.
Yeah.
I played more than 40 different games, I think, but I'd have to look at my board game stats. But a lot of those are going to be little games, short games and things along those lines. So, I have found that more and more I'm playing fewer of the big, heavy games just because they take so much more of a commitment, that I'm sticking a little bit more with the lighter to medium games.
Yeah, I'm trying to filter out the crap ones.
Right. Yeah, and there are plenty of those.
Ferg's here, but he's muted. Are you muted on purpose, Ferg? No, he's not muted.
Yes, we are having
Hello,
such a...
can you hear?
Yes, you guys were having such a lively conversation. I didn't want to interrupt with
That's probably bringing people on. Probably bringing people on. Yeah. You're outside.
I appreciate what Ferg is doing here. He's showing us all that we can actually venture out into the nature, the beauty of nature, instead of these cavernous caves that we've got ourselves in here.
Indeed, full of boxes. So yeah, are you going to go out now? Are you going to take?
We're losing Dan. See, Dan
taking the surroundings.
Dan's been having some internet issues, I think.
No, maybe he's kicking himself out.
That could be, yeah.
Get out, Gary. Go on, awesome. Get out. Yeah, my internet is very bad, and I'm in the attic, and it's not a good signal, so I apologize to everybody.
It's all right. On the playthrough, we won't show up. We'll just all be sitting here waiting for nothing.
Right,
So-
so I just want to, just before we get on to Ferg,
Yes.
who I'm very disappointed isn't from Calypso Explains It All. So you've got off on a bad start for us already there, Ferg.
So sorry. So sorry.
We've got one last person, Cruz. So we'll bring them on later, and then we'll call that a day. I'll just check. There's another very long email. Need to come on. How are you, Ferg?
I'm doing fantastic. It is beautiful outside today, and there's these birds over here that are really fun to watch.
Berg, where are you? Ferg, where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Ah, okay. So it, and I'm speaking as someone that is an American, but do you consider Oklahoma the Midwest? The South?
They consider it the Midwest here. I'm originally from the St. Louis area, and I feel like that's more Midwest than Oklahoma. I feel like Oklahoma is more of a tumor of Texas.
That's a lovely way to put it. Yes.
Yeah, we're not really Texas, but we're not really not Texas, so it's kind of just here.
Yeah, Oklahoma. I had never really thought about it, and I think that's part of the problem. Is I think a lot of times people just don't think about Oklahoma, or Indiana for that matter.
I think about it quite a lot. Oklahoma.
Do you?
It's
Just because
where the wind comes sweeping down the plains. Is
musical. Yep.
Yeah, we saw that one coming.
Literally every time someone asks me like, "So where are you from?" I say, "Well, I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma," and they, like the musical. I know that.
Yep, exactly right. Exactly right.
Like the musical, which is honestly not the best musical out there. It really isn't.
I'm not a musicals guy, but I am familiar with the theme song of Oklahoma. Do you listen to musicals, Dan?
No, I've traditionally always said I hate musicals, but I've revised my opinion to say I hate amateur musicals, which is the majority of the ones I've seen. A proper, well done professional musical can be really good, and I've been both my daughters are obsessed with Hamilton at the moment, so I've got Hamilton soundtrack going on in the car all the time, and that's pretty good, really.
What's your opinion on movie musicals? Like movies that were musicals that went into the cinema.
What's right?
He was asking what your opinion of movie musicals are. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind them. It's usually the storyline that isn't wonderful, and that's what I probably like about, because it's always usually a romantic comedy or something like that, isn't it? Generally, whereas on the stage you can get some really kind of innovative musicals. My favorite one of all time is Avenue Q. Have either of you seen Avenue Q?
Go ahead.
I've seen parts of it, and it's mostly the one about what the internet is really for.
Yeah. But the fantastic puppet sex scene as well, which rivals that of Team America. But also it's an incredibly deep story about. It's kind of antithesis to Sesame. I mean, I love Sesame Street, but this whole everyone's special thing, and you've all got purpose and all this kind of stuff. And it's about the reality of growing up and realizing that's not particularly the case. And there's a song that there's songs about it's all everything's fleeting. So you're happy for a while, and then it goes, and you're sad for a while, and then it goes. The entire of world is fleeting. There's songs. It's basically about growing up as a kind of millennial stroke generation wire, and it's superb, and it's quite rude as well, which is also very good.
Yeah,
but it's excellent. Luke agrees with me, so there you go.
He does indeed.
Yeah, Matthew Jude does love musicals. He likes Les Miserables as well.
Yeah, that Avenue Q sounded like the Matthew Jude story there. So Ferg, what is your kind of gaming background? What do you kind of lean towards a particular type of game, or?
Not really. I mean, I probably would say I'm not. I like Euro games, but I'm not like I need to know every dry or Euro, or like I honestly don't get to buy a lot of games right now because of the stage of life me and my wife are in. We're working really hard to get out of debt, so we can't buy a bunch of stuff, and so which really sucks. But like my favorite designer is Eric Lang. Mainly because I love Blood Rage and Rising Sun a lot. I love Arcadia Quest, so I'm probably more on the Ameritrashy side of things, but if it's just like I don't really care for House on the Hill much, just because it's very, I don't know, it's fun experience, like if you're with the right people, but it's really dependent on the right people, and sometimes the scenario you get too. So, which I'm sure you guys know, but so
it's my most hated game is Betrayal.
See, my most hated game right now is Munchkin. I just can't stand that thing.
Yeah. I've not actually played that one, but I think it's for the similar reasons. And actually, my most hated game is Flux. I detest Flux with an absolute passion. But I think these days the distinguishing the line between Ameritrash and Euro is fast depleting. And you know, you can get one that's more to one side than another, but it's usually a spectrum, I'd say.
Yeah, if it looks nice, honestly, like for me, if it looks nice and the theme doesn't even have to match the mechanisms well at all. Like if it's just really fun looking, probably nerding out on it somehow and kind of in this like, I want that, or whatever.
Yeah, I think we've got some similarities there, Ferg. I've been very, very open in that I am unapologetically shallow. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying I am.
No, I am too.
Unapologetically shallow when it comes to the appearance of a game, because I'll tell you the truth. I think if this is me trying to justify my shallowness. If they've spent the amount of time and money and effort to make a game look good, oftentimes I tend to find that transfers beyond that they've actually, because it's not cheap to get good art. It's not cheap to get good graphic design. It's not cheap to make a game look attractive. Now, you can get burned there too, because I've got burned by pretty games that are garbage. But generally speaking, I tend to find that the games that look best also tend to be solid games.
But you can also have really good looking card games that are less expensive. And
absolutely.
So for me, it's like if it's a, you know, and I'm a little bit of, with my group of friends that I game with, I sometimes unintentionally come across as a snob, just because I'll be like, no, you know, I really think they could have done better with this card here, because like, look at this. Oh, it's got a matte finish, and ooh, and a linen finish over here on this. This is nice. But like, I'll say like I have really good friends that go to my small group, and we have a board game small group for our church, and they're like, oh man, you want to play a Munchkin? And I was like, I swore off that game. I'm sorry. And they're like, oh, you're such a. And I was like, oh no, I'm not. You can like it. I'm not saying you can't like it. Like, I don't want to spend 3 hours trying to figure out who's going to luck out. On getting level 10. I just don't want to.
Right, because the second place person always is the one that wins. So
yeah.
But the thing is about Munchkin, and I agree with you. If I have my druthers, I'll never play it again. Although, if a new gamer wanted to sit down and play, I would absolutely do it. It's just not something I'm going to seek out to do. But the thing about Munchkin is that it's really good as a gateway, and I know this because it was one of the games that got me into the hobby. Along with Catan, along with Lost Cities. These were the games that got me into hobby board gaming. And say what you will about Munchkin, it does fit in the modern gaming culture. It really does. It does fit in modern gaming culture, and it helps, I think, bring people along a little bit.
Well, and honestly, the things I appreciate about Munchkin was that just on face level, it's approachable. It's got like, it makes inside references that is to nerd culture in general, depending on what theme of the game you get. So I have a high appreciation for it. And I understand why it makes all the money it's making, and why it continually is being made, and why, even Eric Lang decides to go and design games for it, and Cool Mini or Not's deciding to jump in on that too, is because it is approachable for some people. That's what, when you guys were talking about some of the war games and stuff, like those are things I'm totally be interested in. Like, I started getting into miniature painting last year, really, really enjoying some of this stuff. But like, and I love Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven's a great game. But when you go to introduce some of these games to some people who like my wife, she's not a gamer. She likes code names. She likes Biblios, stuff like that. But you go to even instruct her in some of the newer stuff, if they've not had some kind of background somehow. Like I grew up, like we were playing Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And on the front porch of my friend's house, across the street. And so I have like, oh, okay, so this is kind of like that. It made some sense because I kind of grew up doing some of that. But like Munchkin's approachable for people who didn't grow up doing some of that, or like video gamers. It's like, oh,
that's
this makes sense.
So it's not always about the complexity, is it? It's about the motivation. And I think it was. I was talking to Ben about it actually. It's that any game can be a gateway game. You can start off on Terra Mystica, you can start off on Gloomhaven, that's fine. Right. The issue is you need the motivation to get through the first few turns to learn the rules. So the gateway games are usually ones with rules simple enough that you can go, oh, I've got it now after the first turn. Whereas if you're not used to board gaming, then it could take you an entire game to get used to Terra Mystica and work out, oh, okay, now it's clicked for me now. So games like Munchkin, games like Boss Monster, games like whatever, they're all Love games Letter. That you can Love Letter, all games you can just click into. Oh, I get it, and then your motivation is there right from the beginning. So there's nothing inherently wrong with that, and I think sometimes we can believe that we move on too fast from gateway games and realize they're realize that they're not. I don't know. I got distracted by the chat then. We can realise, people dismiss them and say, oh, well, now I've moved on to this. So like a graduated class and I don't need to go back there. And then suddenly you realise, hang on a second, Downforce is great. All that, that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, right now, like just in our cadence of where we're at in life, or the rhythm of life doesn't allow us to have the 3-hour game day session. And so like some of these board games that are like I mentioned Biblios earlier. That game, while it's not like the best in the world, when it comes to just a filler game that I could sit down and explain to somebody, hey, here's what we're doing, and it's like, oh, that was really cool. This is not Uno. You're right. This is not Uno. This is the next. This is better. Like let's.
I'm a huge fan of playing Uno.
You could. I'm a huge fan of Steve Finn or Dr. Finn, of his games. The Biblios is fantastic. He gets that kind of title of the king of the filler. And I agree. I think that's a great game.
Yeah. I've just invited Jay Krunis, who's going to be our last caller, but we still want you to stay around, Ferg, even though you're not Fergus from Chris Expensive. But someone asked a good question in the chat. It was Mark Cook, unfortunately. He said he'd be interested to know what people's gateway games are now who are just getting into the hobby. I mean, is there any games that people think are they still the same ones? Do we think?
I think to some extent.
Wow, that was quick.
I think to some extent. Wow, there he is.
Hello.
We'll keep Ferg around for a bit as well. If that's okay. But we were just saying. I don't know if you heard about what were the gateway games into the hobby now. As in, back when I started, it was Carcassonne and Catan and all that kind of stuff. Have we moved on from that, or are they still the same classics that are the gateways?
I think.
What do you think, Ferg?
Yeah, Ferg, go ahead.
Well. For us, Catan is still probably the king for the gateways.
Right.
And I love Catan. Used to be my favorite game for forever, just forever. And then some other things popped up, but and it's still wonderful, and it's so easy to get multiple of those games happening at one time with people who are all new, with just sprinkling the people who've played before to kind of teach the game. So it's fairly simple, and people have a concept of rolling the dice, and I still roll the dice at the beginning of my turn, but I'm just not moving.
Right.
Yeah. You're still rolling your dice, which means something different.
It's amazing. That's true. Something as simple that we take for granted. I remember the first time I played that game, that whole notion was mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
That rolling didn't mean you move somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Century Spice Road, we've had a lot of.
Cool. Sorry.
We've had a lot of success with Century Spice Road as well.
Yeah, that's a really good.
Okay. Splendor's something that we've which is a similar game to Century, isn't it? That Splendor, I would say, has been the breakout gateway game in my group. But I wonder how much of it is culturally as a gaming, because you get into games and then you get into the culture of games, don't you? Most of us, we look out and maybe download a podcast or watch some top 10s of best gateway games, and so narrative is set back on these old games like Ticket to Ride and things like that, and that's what people try on new people. So that's why maybe they stay as perpetual gateway games. I don't know. Sorry, man, you were going to say. Sorry, I don't know your name because you're a J.
I'm Jordan.
Jordan. Oh,
another Jordan.
Another Jordan. Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to go back to what you said earlier, that anything can be a gateway game. I've had some success with Firefly, the board game, because I have friends who are fans of that, and if the IP is interesting enough, I can usually get them interested in a board game. Game of Thrones is another one that I've gotten people who normally wouldn't be interested in board games interested in these long, more complex games, just because they were interested enough in the IP.
That's a really good point. Yeah, because they already have that initial investment, and I think so much of getting somebody that maybe would be intimidated by modern board games is getting that motivation to want to play. You know what I mean? So that's.
Sorry, Mark Cooks just said he likes Jordan's hat, which has entertained me.
It's not a hat.
I thought it was a halo. I thought, Jordan, we visited by.
That's amusing.
It's a really good point. People
it's really good, and that goes back to the motivation, doesn't it? In that if someone's motivated to play a game, then it is a gateway. So that IP is a great way of getting things in there. And I suppose that's the advantage these days of these IP games getting better and better instead of having crap, Big Bang Theory, Monopoly, or whatever. Now we've got good games to Gale Force 9, although they always seem to never do that well, because they're always on around us. The Gale Force 9's IP games are fantastic. I haven't played one I haven't enjoyed yet. I don't know if any of you guys played the Sons of Anarchy game, but it's amazing. It's an amazing game.
I've heard really good things. Did you see that they rethemed it in the Dungeons and Dragons universe?
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, it's called Vault of Dragons. It's essentially, from what I understand, the same game, but it's just in the Dungeons and Dragons universe.
Yeah. So Matt Cook's giving me all sorts of shit.
I know. He's just being he's being
rude. So anything can be a gateway game, but you just have to have the motivation to not put the person off in the first 5 minutes. I mean, Cthulhu said diplomacy was his gateway game. So that's something.
So
but he said something.
Can I ask you a question? Like you mentioned that any game can be a gateway game, and I know that I don't want to take away from Jordan either, because I know it's his turn. But like, do you find that when you're either trying to introduce somebody into a new game, or like they're really interested about a game that you've either played before, like Munchkin or something like that, and you're like, I really don't want to play this game, but I also don't want to discourage this person getting into the hobby in some way. Like, how do you navigate that without coming off as one, pretentious, and two, wanting to guide your eyes out with a plastic spoon?
Me personally, I wouldn't count myself as much of a ambassador these days. I used to run my game group, and I used to always be the person who met people on the door and introduce them to games and stuff like that. These days, I'm more selfish in my gaming. So if I like them as a person, then I'd be willing to sit down and play a game with them. But to be honest, if I don't know them and they're wanting to play Betrayal, then I'll say, it's not for me, I'm afraid. I'm going somewhere else, and let someone else deal with it. Which is very rude, I know, but my gaming time's too short. And I don't personally feel a responsibility to grow the hobby. I don't think that's my responsibility. I think my responsibility is to enjoy them. Oh yeah, I'll be rude. But if I've got a game night where a group of my friends are playing something I really, really want to play on that table, and someone else wants to play Betrayal with me, then I'll go and sit down with my friends. I don't know if that's wrong.
I don't know if it's a right or wrong thing. I mean, I do think it's an intriguing question, Ferg. I think that it. I guess the way I would look at it would be if I were hosting a game night, right? I would have a different attitude about that type of thing, especially if someone was coming to my home and I said, "Bring a game you'd like to play." It doesn't matter what the game is. I'm going to play it. Right, because they're coming to my home or wherever it's at. I'm hosting, and I've invited people. Bring your games. That's not the scenario you brought up, Dan, by any means. But I think that's the only time I would necessarily feel. Well, that's not true. I do have some sense of social obligation. Although there have been times that I've said no, but it's almost only been with people that I'm comfortable with. The less familiar I am with you as a person, the more likely I am to agree to play any game with you, as odd as that may sound. If it's somebody I know and I feel comfortable with, and I know that they won't take offense if I'm not interested in playing Power Grid, I'll tell them I'm not interested in playing Power Grid. You know what I mean? But if it's somebody I don't know, I'm afraid that they're going to take that personally.
Yeah, it's a good game, Power Grid.
No, I know. I've heard.
What about you, Jordan? What are you thinking? Do you feel an obligation to evangelize? Do you feel an obligation to play a game you don't really want to play?
It depends on the situation, like you guys were saying. I have gotten sucked into a game of Exploding Kittens or Cards Against Humanity against my will, just because that's what the people around me were playing. But if I'm hosting a game night, I'm not going to bring that game up. I don't own those games, and if somebody brings it, I'll probably try to steer them towards something I like more. But if I'm at somebody else's gathering, like just a casual gathering, not a more heavy board gaming gathering, I'll often get sucked into more casual games that I'd less like to play.
Yeah. What are the types of games that if you had your druthers? I mean, what's your gaming profile, I guess?
Well, I would say it used to be huge, long games like TI4, Virgin Queen, and Here I Stand are two of my absolute favorites. But now that I have more going on, I find less and less time and people to play those games with.
Sure.
And another thing is now I have fallen down the dark hole that is collectible gaming, and I've been playing a lot of Star Wars Destiny lately. That has been most of my gaming time of late.
And that's kind of like the collectible.
You've got into these lifestyle games, really.
Yeah, I picked it up, the 2-player starter at Target, and played it once and was like, and looked online to see what cards and decks I could build, and I really love the deck building aspect of it. And I had been afraid of getting them.
I have not played
for a long time.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just saying I've never played, but I've seen people play it. It looks really interesting. I just know that myself, I'm afraid that's just wouldn't fit into my lifestyle, just because I'm a completionist. You have that issue at all where you feel like you have to have all the stuff, or?
No, as long as I have what I need to build the decks that I want, or occasionally if I'm playing a casual deck that needs some really expensive cards that I don't want to invest in, I'll borrow or proxy them. But I don't feel like I need everything in a set, just the stuff that I really want to play with. But
it's good you've got a partner you can a playing partner you can proxy stuff with, because that's important in these games, I think, because otherwise you end up just sinking money into stuff. And that's the problem with competitive play, really.
And I feel like the Star Wars Destiny community is a lot more open to that than like the Magic community. I've never played Magic, but being around Magic players, they tend to be a lot more hardcore, for lack of a better word.
Sure. It almost seems to be, and this is gonna, if My intention here is not to offend anybody. It really, truly is not.
Well,
it really isn't. But
it's always good when you start a sentence like
good
that.
way
But
to
I
start,
think,
right.
I think all women.
Exactly. It seems to me, as somebody that's and Derek Madlin would be a former guest, would be a great person to talk about this, because he is, pretty much part of this, or at least has been part of the culture. It almost seems like that type of hyper aggressive, almost confrontational nature. I'm really going. I'm digging myself in deep here. I think that to be successful in that game, you need that type of a mindset. It's very much a foot on the throat mindset, and I think that sometimes that spills over, at least into the perception of the people that play the game. And boy, I was being really I can't think of the word. I was dancing around it. But is there any thought to that, do you think, or?
Yeah, I can't speak much for Magic players. I think equivocating was the word.
That's
you
the
were
word.
looking for,
Thank you. Yes.
But I don't know. I think that might be a possibility, especially for people who really want to get into the competitive scene and really want to go to the tournaments, the big tournaments. I think that's true. But I think that could be said for anybody who wants to really play a game competitively at a high level. And there just really isn't that opportunity in most of the rest of board gaming culture, I think.
Right. It's not as focused, is it? Board gaming isn't as focused as those lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you, Ferg, have you ever been a Magic player or a tournament player?
No, I played when I was in high school. I played in a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament once, but that was about it. I guess, but my thought was, or my question was, for some of these more competitive games, what is the funnel system like, or like to get those people into more hardcore tournament play? Because the people that Jordan, you were talking about, turn me off. So like I love Magic. Like I would love to go play and try to do tournament stuff and figure out how much I suck at it. But like to have the person be like, oh, by the way, you're supposed to re-up before you draw your card, or all this kind of stuff, because I always get that out of order and da-da-da-da-da. And so I'm wondering what is the funnel system like to get people into that, because we're talking about gateway games a minute ago. I'm sure not everybody, or like even with Destiny, not everybody's going to walk through Target and find, ooh, there's a Star Wars card dice game.
Yeah.
So is there, like, with your local community or your local store, is there a funnel for that? Do they have a system for that?
I think part of it is how good the community is. I'm here in Houston, Texas, and our community is really quite good here at having some sort of combination of competitive and nights where we just play the weirdest, jankiest decks, and nights where we're playing sort of a gateway entry style play. And I think finding that balance between, there's a big tournament nearby, we're going to all get ready for it, but when that's not happening, easing back and playing more casually.
Yeah, I think there's a self-selecting, that hyper-aggressive thing. If people get put off, apart from the people who are high aggressive, that's I think where I think it becomes self-selecting, doesn't it? People who can cope with that kind of environment end up playing in that kind of environment, and therefore it just perpetuates itself, I suppose. I mean, and I think different groups of Magic is. I mean, I think there must be the various forms of Magic. Like there's the cubes and I can't remember their different names. I've got a bunch of friends who play this one that goes on for ages. And stuff. So the less aggressive people probably funnel off into that, because the nicer people who play this type of Magic, and then the really hyper ones go down and all the rigid ones go down that line, and then other people just fall by the wayside. So I suppose it's all kind of self-selecting. Cthulhu, just to wrap up a little bit, but I just wanted to mention something that Cthulhu said about evangelizing for board gaming, which I know we weren't talking about there, but they were saying that they don't understand why people are always asking what game should I buy for a non-gamer. My wife doesn't like to play games. What game should I buy her as a birthday present? All that kind of stuff. Because he's saying I'll be livid if someone bought me a load of fishing gear, or a football shirt, and I don't like football or fishing.
Right.
It's like, yeah, completely.
It is. True.
There's the entire Reddit is full of people just saying, "What shall I buy my partner? She doesn't like board games." It's like, well, don't buy her a board game. That's my first tip.
Yeah. Doesn't take a rocket scientist there.
Take her out to dinner.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's a crazy question: what do they like? Yeah.
My wife enjoys board gaming to a certain point, but we play a game every 3 months.
Right.
Usually the same game because she doesn't enjoy learning new rules.
Yep.
So we usually play Castles of Burgundy or something like that. We have a good time, but then she doesn't feel the need to play any more, and I don't try and push it on her. But I don't know. This whole converting people to board gaming.
Yeah.
What can I do to convert everyone to board gaming? It winds me up a little bit.
I made the mistake of trying to bring my girlfriend in to play Root, and she was drawn in by the cute little furry creatures and felt very betrayed by the game.
That's a super aggressive game. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap up if that's all right, because we've been going for over 2 hours now, and I need to go to bed. So, what I wouldn't like to do is leave without telling Ferg to just here, and obviously, Jordan, you need to also get out of here as well. And to everyone else, you can also get out of here shortly. Myself and Luke Pryor on, I think, Wednesday actually, are going to have another bit of an experiment where we're going to do some painting. We're probably going to do it live on here with the cameras pointed down at our hands painting, and we're just going to have a gentle chat. We may have long periods of silence, we may not. A hobby hangout, that's what I've heard it kind of called in previous places. By no means feel obliged to watch just because we're broadcasting it. By no means not probably going to be very entertaining, but it's just a chance to just chat and do some painting. So if you fancy chatting and doing some painting alongside us, it'll be the same time as this started. So,
Luke is asking, was it not next Tuesday?
Was it not next Tuesday? I thought it was Wednesday. I don't know. It'll be sometime. I'll sort it out with him. That's fine.
So it's going to be you and Luke. So it will not be entertaining, just to be clear.
Sorry?
It's you and Luke, correct? So it will not be entertaining, just so we're clear to.
Yeah, that is basically it. We can have somebody on as well. It's going to be very informal. As I say, it's not intended to be an entertainment for anyone else. I don't know why we're doing it, to be honest. It's a chance for me and Luke to catch up. And as I say, because we're both narcissists, we feel that other people need to listen to us while we do it. So, so Cthulhu Who said there should be a new Sporadic board tomorrow, right? It's been a few days since the last. It's funny you should say that. It's funny
we are indeed recording tomorrow. Yeah.
And our habit is to release it as soon as we record it or the day after. But we will probably delay it. We appreciate that sometimes we do it too often for people. We really don't object if you don't listen to them. The whole thing about the sporadic nature of the thing, as well as being sporadically on topic, is that me and Mike didn't want to feel any pressure about recording, about setting to a set deadline. We'd never wanted to think, oh God, we've got to record on Monday, and we really don't want to, anything like that. And the strange thing that happened was that me and Mike really, really enjoy recording. What do we do? And I really enjoy the guests we have on, and I really enjoy the community. But most of all, I really, really enjoy talking to Mike, and I have a very fun time, and it's one of my highlights of my week. And obviously, that means I want to do it more often. So we end up saying, well, we'll give it a rest for a week because we really are doing too many. And then we go, oh, but I thought about this. Should we just, and then all that kind of stuff. So
one little thing will be enough to make us want to talk for 2 hours.
Exactly. So we will delay the next. We are recording tomorrow, but I think it'll probably come out at the end of next week. We're not coming out weekly. We're coming usually about 10 days, but I appreciate it does feel too much because we do go on a little bit. Narcissistically painting. That's what we're going to call it. That's going to be the name of the show. So Luke and I will be around at some point during the week. Apparently Tuesday. I'm working Tuesday though, Luke. Are you sure I said Tuesday? I can do it.
Tuesday or Thursday or Wednesday, right? We'll see. We'll figure it out.
Sorry.
You'll make an announcement on the Facebook page.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that we should go, Mike.
I agree. It was lovely. I really loved getting to talk to the newer people.
Yes, it
the
was.
chat was great.
Yes, it was fun. I think we did it better this time. I felt chatting to people and the chat was good.
Yeah.
Obviously, we didn't manage to get everybody, but it's quite difficult when you talk to someone else. So I just want to give everyone your attention. Thank you very much for the people who came on. That's very much appreciated. Let us know if there's anything you feel we should be doing differently. I'm sorry it's gone on so long.
Yes.
And that is about it, isn't it, really? What I'm going to do is try and do something
You're going to kick me out of here?
Amazing. So, Mike.
Yes. You can't?
I don't know. I don't think I should really. No, I can't really kick you. Aha! I kicked him out. I'm hilarious. No, what I was actually going to do is do this, and this, and this, and this, and goodbye.